Kellyanne Conway staying loyal to the president. Time now for tonight's Power Panel. Fox News contributor Morgan Ortegas, Daily Caller White House correspondent Sagar Enjeti, and Democratic strategist Dave Brown. Welcome to all of you. It feels like the Housewives of D.C. kind of situation. I don't know what is going on here. I want to read something because Trace alluded to this, and George Conway was asked, like, are you guys kind of playing both sides so that no matter what happens long term, you guys have, somewhere to go with this? The president's called her husband, Kellyanne Conway's total loser, husband from hell, and whack. So when asked about whether they're kind of playing both sides, George Conway said this to the New York Times: I almost wish that were so. This is just my way of expressing my views. I don't end up getting in arguments at home about it. Morgan, I don't know about you. I would certainly be getting into some arguments about this at home if the president was ripping my husband on Twitter, and vice versa.
It's a little awkward, to say the least, but everyone has their own marriage and the way they do things, and it's different than the way I do mine, but I'm not going to get in the middle of it. I think it is unprecedented, of course, what we're seeing, but that happens often in this administration. And for me, I think this is just sort of a slow news week, and so this is yet another distraction for the media because there's not any policy things to latch onto, so this is what we're focusing on. I actually think Kellyanne really truly has done amazing work on the opioid epidemic, and there's someone close to me who's been dealing with that this week, and so as fun as it is for the media to get on Twitter, I don't think that the average American is focused on this at all. In fact, I think our viewers around the country are focused on what this administration is getting done, and I just hope Kellyanne can keep a clear head and continue her work on the opioid epidemic because it's vitally important and it's serious, and the rest of the stuff is not serious.
Yeah. In the meantime, though, Dave, do you think that there's some part of this couple that they have some kind of understanding privately about this public spat? Because I think it'd be really hard to go home and be in the middle of this thing if you didn't both kind of understand maybe some of this is for show, maybe not.
The
guys don't want to touch this.
I feel so awkward talking about this subject. Yeah. I don't want to talk about someone else's marriage. I don't know. What I do know is I think that the exchange that I read on Twitter from the president directed to George Conway just is further evidence of how this president debases the office in the way he talks on Twitter. I think we saw that with how he talked about Senator McCain, how to see Senator McCain. So I don't know if they have an arrangement. I don't know what's going on in their home. I hope that, I wish them well. I wish that the president would stop attacking people on Twitter. And I think that Mr. Conway is bringing up some points that he clearly believes are incredibly important, and he's trying to communicate those to the American people.
Yeah, I mean, he brought up something this week that really upset the president. It seemed like, or at least got his attention, Sagar, with this, posting some diagnostic manual descriptions of personality disorders and kind of hinting that this is what the president is. And Kellyanne Conway said about this, but you think he shouldn't respond when somebody, referring to her husband, a non-medical professional, accuses him of having a mental disorder. You think he should just take that sitting down? So she's defending the president's response to her husband's tweet.
She's extremely loyal to her boss, and to her point, I mean, George Conway has been almost displaying some of these characteristics himself in the level of how much he wants to keep himself in the media with this attention, posting screenshots about narcissistic personality disorder. It's both just, they're feeding into a loop which is keeping this going. And like Dave, I don't want to sit here and speculate about somebody's marriage. It feels grimy and it feels gross, and so I'll just stick to the facts we know.
Okay, now I do want to play something. The president, we talked about this today. He went on an important visit today to a manufacturing area in Ohio, a plant there, where he wanted to talk about the importance of what he's done to try to bring these jobs back to the U.S. and to highlight the positive that he's done. But he spent several minutes in this speech going after the late Senator John McCain, and it got a lot of attention. We want to play just some snippets from that.
So I have to be honest, I've never liked him much. He turned it over to the FBI hoping to put me in jeopardy, and that's not the nicest thing to do. He said 2 hours before he was voting to repeal and replace, and he went thumbs down. McCain didn't get the job done for our great vets and the VA. We're in a war in the Middle East that McCain pushed so hard. I wasn't a fan of John McCain.
Sagar, why do you think that he is still so engaged in this feud, even after the senator's death?
Well, what a lot of people don't understand is that the genesis of this is being upset about the role that Senator McCain and his key aides played in the dissemination of the Steele dossier. I would actually, one of the things that some of the advisors to the president are saying are, sir, stop talking about his funeral and attacking him personally so we can talk about the legitimate policy disagreement here, which was the dissemination of the Steele dossier, having key aides, brief reporters, handing those things over to the FBI, and playing a very big role in making sure that that made its way to the FBI. That's the actual disagreement with Senator McCain that the president has right now.
Yeah, and Meghan McCain, who has had to relive a lot of this about her father and his passing, which she's still grieving, she said today that she thinks her dad actually would think it's hilarious that the president is still, making headlines with his name. But quickly, Dave, and then Morgan, I want you to weigh in on this.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to think about what President Reagan would say in a situation like this. And I was trying to conceive of any situation where President Reagan would ever talk about a member of the Senate, a public servant, in the way that this president has talked about John McCain, Democrat or Republican. I just don't think it's conceivable. And so, I mean, look, I'll add me to the litany of Isaacson calling it deplorable, Romney calling McCain exemplary. It's a tragedy.
We get a quick comment from Morgan because, yeah, there are a lot of senators out there who are siding with the memory of Senator McCain.
Right, but I think just if you start to look back at the congressional testimony and all of the records that we've seen over the past couple years as we had this, it looks like the FBI actually had this information of this dossier well before Senator McCain gave it to them. So I would take a little bit of issue with just the record there. It doesn't look like this investigation was predicated upon McCain giving it to him. I think that they had this information for quite some time. In fact, Christopher Steele, rightly or wrongly, probably wrongly, appears to have been a source of them for quite some time. So I think that there's still a lot of unanswered questions here that I think the Senate Judiciary will get to the bottom of.
Yeah, a lot of bad blood between some very prominent Republicans over this. All right, for our panel, thank you very much.